All right. 3, 2, 1. We're live.
There we go.
22.
Episode 22. Yeah, I mean, aside from being repeating numbers, anything special about 22? Like, there's one year you're kind of like at the bar, and now you've got like, you understand the game a little bit.
Yeah.
You're still a newbie.
You're very new.
Yeah, you're a little fawn. You walk around, but you're still gonna get fucking eaten.
Yeah. People start asking you to buy beers.
You're like, wait, I'm the old guy?
Yeah. You start to feel that old guy presence.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized that 22 is half my fucking age right now. God, now I do feel old.
You're 44?
Yeah.
I thought you were like 35.
Good. That's good. I moisturize.
Dude, my girl's always, dude, you gotta moisturize every single day.
Dude,
Sunblock
works,
in your moisturizer.
man.
I'm like, yeah,
It works.
she's right.
Yep.
She's right.
All right, cool. So today's topic, well, first off, thank you guys for the feedback that you guys have given us on what you guys want to hear, what you like, what's useful. We want to continue doing more of that. So please hit us up and let us know what you want to hear. I think today's topic is one that I feel like a lot of people struggle with. And maybe I can offer some insight on this because it's not something that I personally struggle with because I'm kind of a fucking robot. But it's quitting. And my advice to most people in this is going to sound weird coming from, a Navy SEAL. My advice is to fucking quit more things, quit early, quit often. And here's why. So the reason is that if you want to build anything, it requires focus, a massive, massive amount of focus. And the definition of focus is excluding other things. Like you can't focus on everything all at once. Like even if you're looking at something, like I'm looking at you, I can see the shirts behind you, but I can't focus on the shirts and you at the same time. And a lot of people try to run multiple businesses and multiple side projects and all these things. And it seems fancy and you're going to do all the things, but in reality, you're just kind of shitty at a lot of things. Whereas if you were focused, like truly focused on one thing, you can make a lot of headway and make a lot of progress. But the only way to do that is to stop doing other shit or quit other things. But a lot of people don't want to quit because there's this big thing like, oh, I'm not a quitter. I'm going to follow through. I'm going to do all this shit. Well, I would challenge you to look at it from an outcome-based or results-based perspective. Is you might really want what you think you're going to get from doing that, but is it worth the fucking time? And how much longer is it going to take you if you're focusing on 10 different things? It's going to be 100 years before you finish any of them. You know? Whereas if you just, knocked out 9 of those things and you don't delete them, just put them on hold, focus on one, you can make a lot of progress in a year on if you're focused on one thing. Mm-hmm. Imagine what you can do in 10 years on one thing. This is something that I also talk with our team a lot about because especially our brand management team, we always have a lot of things going on and everything's like a front burner problem. So what I tell them is prioritization wise is if you look at a front burner and back burner, right? So front burner stuff is like, hey, shit's on fire. This is priority 1. We got to handle it. Back burner is like, okay, I can put it off till the end of the day, till the end of the week or 6 months or whatever the, prioritization is. But if you don't prioritize and you have an end, like 20 things on your plate every day, it's impossible. Imagine trying to cook something. You have a stove with 20 things and they're all on the front burner. And you're placing the same amount of priority on all of them. It's impossible to do everything and it's overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It's fucking overwhelming to be faced with that. So one of the things we tell our staff is prioritize things correctly and then turn that stove 90 degrees. So instead of 20 things all facing you, you have one thing facing you and a line of 20 things. Oh, wow. So prioritize the main things that have the most effect on your business, that are the quickest, the easiest, the fastest to do with the best results. And you might have 2 or 3 of those things you're working on at a time. And just focus on those. So you'll burn through those. And the progress you can make on the things that matter in a day on that is immense. Because, as an entrepreneur, you're never done with, I don't know if I've ever gone to the end of the day. I'm like, man, I got all my shit done. I'm totally done. There's nothing more I can do. It's endless.
I'm rich.
Right? It's endless. So I think just that prioritization and, focusing on the right things is so powerful because it cleans up your stress. It makes you more efficient with what you do. You get better results. Your clients are happier. It solves a lot of problems. But it's that same thing. It was like, we have to tell them, hey, you have this thing that is not, due for 3 months and we can't even work on it for a month. This is about like literally quit this project until 30 days from now and then put it back on the list, but just take it off. And there's so many things in everyone's life that they place all this value on and all this, weight on that might not necessarily need to be weighted the same as something that might truly be important. But yeah, I think people should allow themselves to quit.
Because that's like, it's broad and I love it. And it's just, I just have more questions about that, right? Because you can quit on multiple things. Let's just say you like sports, but you quit on football, then you quit on basketball, then you quit. Like you're trying to find it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like that's okay to be doing because you're not at that point where you're like, oh, I need to only be doing this. I need to only be doing this sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes sense, like even with like, of course, business where it's like
try out a bunch of things.
That's what I did. I'm a real estate agent, electrician, and the list goes on and on.
But you had to quit those things to do what you do now.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like that makes a lot of sense. And going back to like what you said, even a daily thing, right? If a project's done or starts in 3 months and you can't really get started until that month before, don't worry about that.
Yeah, take it off your bandwidth.
And I think you told me something like, your opinion too, be the best at one thing or a jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. Like be that best at that one thing that you're great and amazing at, and people come to you for that one thing. Oh, wow. You know?
Well, there's also this misconception that people say, everybody's heard this, that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. But what they don't understand is that's not how they fucking got to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Most people who have money got it by doing one thing world class, one thing extremely well, like top of the heap. And if you do that, there's a market for that and you learn the lessons and you can scale and grow and become a millionaire. Once you're at that level, then you diversify your portfolio, you start other things, you're putting your money into other projects and investments that usually have a return. So yes, the average millionaire has, 7 streams of income. That makes sense. But I guarantee you the average million did not get there by doing 7 random fucking things all at once.
Yeah.
They did not. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One fucking thing. And then once you nail that, then you can, expand. Don't let off the gas, but you'll find somebody that can run that main thing for you. And then you can focus on the next project, on the next thing. That's what I did with industry. Like Disney that's her primary focus is running industry. So now I can pull off and focus on doing other things and building other things.
Because it's great to be a visionary, right? But I think starting that one thing where you take full control, you learn ins and out about business and really build that. And then once you're ready, like 100% ready to go to that next one, now it's like, we always say like business is a game. You can go play that next game now. You know how the first one was built. Now you can go do that. Now you know how to, because delegating too, you probably delegated in the first company. How can I use that money from the first company to go into the second company to make it even faster now? It's just like next level.
Well, you have to, unless you just want to have like a lifestyle business, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But, it's just a different type of entrepreneurship to do that versus like, growth oriented.
They're like a cap on lifestyle brand, you feel? Like $1 million? I don't know.
No, you can have a lifestyle business that does a couple million and you could probably take home, low 7 figures for that. And depending on your margins and the type and all that. But the inherent nature of a lifestyle business is that it revolves around you and it requires you. So I hope you make a lot of fucking money because once you stop working, if that's all you're doing, you're not making any more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of it's good and bad. It's good that it can be really cool and fulfilling and fun. But you just have to understand its limitations. And, that's why I would say, like, look at it from a results or an endpoint standpoint or perspective. And what do you want to look like in 20 years and 30 years? What do you still want to be doing it when you're 55, 70? Like, and if the answer is no, okay, well, then we got to look at alternatives.
Yeah. I like that analogy. You said that all the meals on the kitchen burner, there's 20 of them. Right? You flip it sideways. Now you have one to focus on. Because when you were saying that, I was like, damn, the quality of food would be ass.
Yeah.
There's the menu is great, but it's like when you get each individual one, the quality sucks. So I feel like saying no, quitting, and just doing that route of what you need to really be focusing on that day, that month, that year, your whole business, it's quality control. Because people want quality, really do.
Well, it goes into, not just business, like life too, like relationships. Like if you don't have the relationship that if you know the relationship is not going to work out, you're wasting time staying in it. People are like, well, I don't quit. I'm staying. I'm going to fight for it. Like, are you sure that's the right thing to do? Like why are you second guessing it anyway? And if sometimes staying in a relationship that you're not 100% on is going to keep you from finding that relationship that you want, or that you would be willing to go 100% on. Because if you're half-assed in a relationship and you find somebody who you're like, say you're dating, and you find somebody that you want to go all in on, and they find out you've been, kind of being shady about double dipping, like, dude, it's that could taint, like, forever taint that relationship and make it unable to get to 100%. So that's why I think honesty in all these relationships and is so important. But it starts with honesty with yourself. Like, what do I really want, and what am I willing to do to get there? And just being comfortable with being open with telling everybody that.
Yeah, man. That's a good one. Quitting. Is there a next part to that?
Yeah. So the other part of that is you have to know, in order to quit something, you have to know that you're not a quitter. And in order to know that you're not a quitter, I think it's very important to do enough hard shit where you can tell the difference between, I'm quitting because I don't think the outcome is where I want to go anymore, versus I'm quitting because it's too hard. And you have to do harder shit than that first or that second question in order to know that second question even exists. Because you can bullshit, everybody else, but you can't bullshit yourself. So that's why I think it's so important that you do hard things. And that's why I don't personally struggle with that, because, I think going through SEAL training at such a young age really helped me, because now I quit shit all the time. I'll quit in the middle of CrossFit workout. Like, 40-minute CrossFit workout, no fucking thank you. I'll do 20 minutes of it and then hang my shit up and walk away. Like, I don't feel like, oh, you're quitting. I'm like, am I? I don't feel like working out for 40 minutes, bro. I know what my fitness parameters are. I know I'm going to go super hard for 20 minutes rather than mediocre for 40 minutes. I know I personally get better benefit out of that. So I'm literally going to walk out of the workout halfway through. Oh, am I quitting? Like, yeah, I'm quitting. Am I a pussy? I don't think so. And I know that I don't feel that way myself because I did hard shit. But if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't had that measuring stick for my life, being Navy SEAL, I would probably question it. Like, shit, maybe I need to do all 40 minutes. Maybe I am a pussy. Maybe I am just a quitter. But having that metric for myself, I think gives me the confidence to say no to a lot of these things, which I think is, that's the reason I don't struggle with it, because I did hard shit. But I think that's why so many people do struggle with it, because they haven't done something hard enough to where they know the difference between quitting because it's not serving you and quitting because it's too hard.
That's a good one. That's like something I have to even think about. I feel like I've gone through hard shit. Some things I'm like, oh, I'm okay. But I think it is that real thing where it's your choice. And if like that's the character who you are, I can really just do that workout in 20 minutes. Hard as fuck. I could fit that 40-minute into 20-minute, kill myself and go for it. And I had a great workout. Yeah. See you guys. Then I think a lot of people think of that and they're like, oh, but he quit. And the reason people think that is like they think about what others are thinking about them. Yeah. It's like, how do you deal with that?
I think for me, honestly, the SEAL thing is an insulator from that. We're like, who's going to call me a pussy? Another team guy? We're like, I don't care. Fuck you. And the person who's not a team guy, like, well, I still don't care. Fuck you. Like, whatever. Like, I literally don't care. And I think the reason is because I know myself so well, but I also know when I'm being a pussy about shit. Like, I remember I was, when I was teaching at SQT, I would go work out in the gym there, and it's right on the bay and on the island of Coronado. And most days I would, to finish off the workout, it's like you get hot even when it's cold out. I'd go and jump in the bay and just swim a couple piers back and forth. Not long, just to kind of cool down and end the workout. But I remember there's a couple times where I go down to the pier. I'm like, it looks kind of cold, man. And I'm like, fuck, now I have to jump in. Because that was a distinction in my mind where I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do it because I'm a bitch. Now I'm like, okay, I can't. Now I have to fucking jump in the water. Now I have to do more laps. Now I have to do fucking more to prove myself that I'm fucking not a bitch. I can control this, because doing that allows me to say no and quit other things, knowing that it's not because it's too hard. But I still struggle with that, dude, all the time. Like, quitting like a workout, or like, oh, I'm kind of done, dude. if you realize, if you think that's creeping in your mind that you might be quitting because it's too difficult, you got to fucking do more. You got to do at least one rep, 10 more things so that you know.
Because I like that. What would you have? Okay, because you say outcome compared to it being too hard, right? So if you went down to the pier and you're like, I'm gonna hop in, and you what did you have to think to yourself? Where like, I don't need to do this right now, because the outcome is.
So the times where I go down there and I'm just like not into it, I'd be like, you know what? I'm feeling loose. I'm feeling good. I don't really want to go do this. It's nice and chill anyway. I got to go do the, I got to go to a meeting or something. And it made sense. I'm like, I don't need the results that I'm getting for that. But the times where I was going to say no because it's like, it's kind of cold and I don't want to get in, that's the time I need to fucking get in. Yeah.
Can you relate to that, like to an idea that you've had like in business and or work or something that's most recent? I think that's interesting. I love that concept. Like, first thing you think is like, you're being a bitch. That means you have to go do it. Compared to like the outcome, like what's that difference? Like, I don't want to do it because this is going to like money. It might fuck my business up. Well, is that me being a bitch? Is that me? You know what I mean? Like it's like.
I think on the business side, a lot of it is tied more to ego. And you're like, okay, am I going to do this or start this or quit this or stop this because it makes sense or because it elevates or damages my ego. So I think that's kind of the same thing. It's like, are you letting your bitch voice run your life and like, I don't want to do this, uncomfortable, or you're letting your ego run your life, like, because I'm making decisions based on my ego. Those are the same thing. Your bitch voice and your ego in that scenario, they sound the same.
They do. That's so funny.
But yeah, man, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And I just wanted to bring it up because I think I'm in kind of a unique position. Being a SEAL, just everybody's like, don't quit. We're known for not quitting because that's a very, difficult program. So I think I'm in maybe a better position than most people to say it's fucking okay to quit. And not only is it okay, you should quit most things in your life if you want to focus on building the things that you really want at a badass level. But most other team guys just like, don't quit anything ever. I'm like, well, you can do that, but I don't particularly subscribe to that, option.
Some people are intense, man. Well, that's why I feel like burnout's a real thing, because you're like, I'm kind of fucking tired. Like, I'm going 70-hour, 80-hour bender this week of work. And then it's like, you do it the next week, the next week, the next week. They're like, fuck. And then you watch a podcast. Like, don't fucking stop. Like, don't. I'm like,
right? Yeah. Well, even Goggins, like, don't fucking quit, stay hard, I'm like, okay, cool, I get it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I look up to Goggins in that respect. I'm like, he does really fucking hard shit. But what also people don't understand is that in order for Goggins to do that hard shit, he has to quit a lot of other things. He has to quit making his own meals. He has to quit having bullshit relationships. He has to quit going out with the guys. All this other things that most normal people do, he doesn't fucking do. He has quit those things in order to focus on the things that he truly wants in his life, which are, monumentally hard, no joke. But even that whole mantra, like, don't quit, like, don't quit on your dreams. Don't quit on the things that you really want in fucking life. But the flip side of that is, in order to actually chase those effectively, you have to quit almost everything else in your life.
Because sometimes I like that you said like the bitch voice and the ego are like the same thing, like the same type of voice, just I guess different frequency maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's like, hey, it's kind of cold. You don't need to go out there. You can just go inside. It's warm. Nobody will know.
I think it's one of those things where I appreciate, because I have those voices in my head, but I go even harder when people say like, oh, you can't do that, or like, oh, it's hard. I'm like, okay, watch this shit, like in the aspect of that. You won't jump in the fucking water. Okay, I'll do it. Like,
if you know how to use it, yeah. Otherwise, you just Marty McFly, like, what are you, chicken? You better do my homework. Oh, you don't want to do it? What are you, chicken, to do my homework? Come on.
Dude. Oh my gosh. Back to the Future. Because when you bring this up, it's like a conditioning. It's like you could say, or someone could listen to this on the podcast and be, oh, that's cool. But if you really don't like dig deep and kind of like understand like what it really means, then like how are you going to actually exercise it and try it and do it for yourself?
Yeah.
And I think the most simple way that you put it is like, if it's your bitch voice, go do it, you know, and go do harder things. So as an outsider, like what are those things that are harder that people could go experience and go do? Is that like, I'm going to go do a crazy hike, or like, I don't know. Like,
I think it depends. Like for some people, if you're scared of heights, it might be going skydiving. Like I'm not skydive qualified. I don't want to go. I really don't like jumping out of fucking planes. So for me, like I don't question that I could do it. I know that I don't
because you
want
did
to
it.
do it. I'm like, I don't go do it. I'm like, because it's not a fear of mine. It's just something I know that I dislike. There's a difference. Running, if I want to go run 10 miles, I'm like, yeah, I could go do it, but what am I going to get out of it? Like, I don't really want to. It's kind of painful, and 235 pounds right now. I'm like, running 10 miles is not really, not really my ball game anymore. But I think I do still need to find things that are hard. But honestly, sometimes that's small things. Sometimes it's just, getting up and making a 6 a.m. workout because I told somebody I was going to be there, or standing by your word. You say something when you're drinking at night, and the next morning you're like, fuck, I got to go do it. And you have to go do these things that you promise yourself you're going to go do. I think those are important to do. But there's also things that, these are everybody struggles with though. Like, I want to quit entrepreneurship sometimes. Night hanging out, I'm like, dude, this is a fucking roller coaster. I totally see why people get 9-to-5 jobs and just happy, and like, why big offense? I totally get it. And sometimes I want to wad everything up, be like, whatever, fuck you guys. I'm going to go do whatever, anything else. I'm going to be a bum. I'm going to live in a van down by the river, dude, in a little fucking tiny house, and get my dog, and like, I don't give a fuck. And I don't do that, number one, because that's not long-term where I want my life to go. And number two, I know that's the bitch voice in there. So, it's too hard. It's too hard. I have to go fucking harder on it now. I know that I have to continue. I have to drive further into entrepreneurship because it is fucking hard, because it is difficult, because it is challenging every day with that bitch voice. Like, why don't you just go softer? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? No, I want to build big fucking shit. And it takes big balls, big ego to make those fucking plays. And I need to become that person in order to move the ball that far down the field, And I think that's, for me, ties into a lot of the meaning of life is like, what do you want in life? I think for me is maximizing experiences. And entrepreneurship will definitely maximize the fuck out of your experiences, dude.
Right.
Both good and bad. But yeah, I think there's a lot of tie-in, dude, but I think it's very personal, or it depends on the person, as far as how, what that looks like to them. Because there are things that are, very difficult for me that the average person might find very easy, and vice versa.
And I think that's a cool point to say. Like you just said, something that might be hard to you is like, for instance, I was thinking about sometimes when I'm lazy, I don't want to like make food at home. I'm just going to go buy food. What's that mean? I'm probably buy some bad food for me, but it's really delicious, right? But there's people out there like, they have a hard time struggling with that, where it's like, even if you're like, I want to make like a big juicy burger, and like, I want that. All right, well, what's your goal? Like, you want to lose weight? All right, cool. That's uncomfortable. That's your bitch voice. Like, it'd be easier to do that. Start with that, and like, still make the burger at home. You can solve the burger, just make it at home now. And then like, you just like slowly start to like change it, make the burger healthier, all these kind of different options. But I think remembering when people say like, it might be too hard, or I might be a bitch, it doesn't have like, even if you feel like a bitch right now because I want to go eat out.
Well, that's what success is, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's, financial entrepreneurship success, or fitness success, or relationship success, whatever it is. Relationship is just a series of 1,000 different decisions every day. And you're going to make some wrong ones, but as long as you make more right decisions than you do wrong ones, that's progress. And over a long enough timeline, progress scales. So you're going to win. It's just, don't be as much of a bitch.
Yeah. Don't be a bitch. Now I'm going to go to you. I'm like, Ryan, am I being a bitch?
I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like a bitch too. It's nature of the game, man. But I think it's good to question yourself, because it helps you get to know yourself. And I think the only way to know whether it's you're quitting because it's too hard, or you're quitting because it's just, not serving you anymore, you have to really know yourself. Otherwise, you're just fucking guessing.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Quick and simple. Good episode.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys got something out of this. And like I said in the beginning, please let us know how we can serve and help you guys. We want to have a deeper conversation with you all. So let us know what you guys are struggling with, and maybe we can find a unique perspective to help you out as well. And through that, we will help each other out by growing and learning.
Exactly. And I want to say, Ryan said it in the beginning of the episode, but it's really cool when people reach out, DM us, and just say like, thank you so much for answering questions, or I don't even know who you guys are, but just the way you guys communicate and just have it like a simple conversation, like you guys helped a lot with the business. So just appreciate you guys. Keep watching. Always DM us what we could talk about to help you. But other than that, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, maybe leave a review. I don't know, but you know what to do.
All right.
All right, man. Shake 'em.
Yeah, buddy.